All right, boxing fans, Montero on Boxing Year-End Awards for 2017. This is the last one, Fighter of the Year. Now, usually we have a clear runaway favorite in this category, and this year we didn't, so I'm struggling. But it's kind of a first tier, there's few guys that I think are kind of interchangeable. And then there's a second tier right below them. Let's start with the second tier. Some of you out there might have Andre Ward as your Fighter of the Year. Now, I think he certainly deserves consideration, but one fight this year against Sergey Kovalev. And yes, he scores a knockout in the 8th round. However, I thought he was losing the fight going into the 8th round. I had him down 4-3, and I believe one of the judges did as well. I think the other two judges had him ahead, but slightly. Competitive fight. Very controversial ending. The last couple rounds of that fight had some controversy, and even the stoppage was controversial. Even if you believe he dominated that fight, won all 8 rounds, and got the knockout cleanly, cool. It's only one fight. And in my opinion, you can't win Fight of the Year off one fight. And I've been consistent with this. Look, 2 years ago, 2015, when Tyson Fury won Fighter of the Year by Ring Magazine for that one win over Vladimir Klitschko, I was adamant I just completely disagreed. It was one win. It was one fight, and it just wasn't enough in my opinion. So I've been consistent across the board with that. Anthony Joshua is another Fighter of the Year candidate, and I understand why many of you might put him on the list. One elite level win over Klitschko, and then the win over Takam, which was supposed to be a fight against Pulev, a mandatory fight. Another thing that I think puts AJ on the list, though, and this matters when you're talking about Fighter of the Year, things like this should be taken into consideration. He's a rock star. He sold over 160,000 tickets in 2 fights over in the UK, in 2 different arenas, 2 different cities. So that's very, very important. That guy is a bona fide star, and he was a Fight of the Year against Vladimir Klitschko, possibly the Round of the Year in that fight as well. A passing of the torch fight, really proved himself, but then follows it up with a dominant performance, not necessarily the most entertaining, but Carlos Takam's a guy who's difficult to look good against, but packs the house. So those 2 dominant wins, although the Klitschko win wasn't dominant, I should take that back. Those 2, an exciting win and then a dominant win. Anthony Joshua is obviously a top candidate, but you can't really put him in the upper echelon. I wouldn't vote for him for Fighter of the Year at all. Gennady Golovkin. Now look, I don't care how you scored the fights, and you guys all know how I scored his 2 fights this year. I thought he clearly won both. On the record, he has a close points win over Daniel Jacobs, which I think is a very impressive win that's going to age well. It's going to look better in the years to come when we see what Daniel Jacobs does in the remainder of his career. That win over him will look better and better and better for Golovkin. But the fight with Canelo ends in a draw. I thought he won, goes down as a draw. So technically speaking, Golovkin is 1-0-1 this year. I think you have to put him in as a top candidate, but it's not quite enough for me to win Fighter of the Year. He didn't clearly, decisively win those fights on the cards. If he did do that, he probably would be Fighter of the Year, but he's not. Now, these 3 fighters here, again, interchangeable. I don't know if one guy outdid the other. Let me run off these names. Srisaket Soa Rungvisai. 2 wins over Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. But again, first win disputed. Yeah, you guys know I thought Chocolatito won the first fight, but Rungvisai got the decision, majority decision. And then comes that brutal knockout in the rematch, the knockout of the year candidate in the rematch on the Superfly card. So highly disputed win, but it's a win, and then a dominant, concussive, brutal win. 2 wins over Gonzalez. I think that this guy has to be right up there in the top 2 or 3 on anybody's list for Fighter of the Year. He has to be considered by everyone. I don't know, though, is that quite enough to be the hands-down favorite? I don't know. Vasya Lomachenko. Now, of all the guys on my list, he's the only guy who actually fought 3 times this year. So if your criteria for fighter of the year is activity, then your guy should be Vasya Lomachenko. 3-0 this year, made all 3 opponents quit. But let's look at the opponents. Jason Sosa, not elite level. Miguel Mariaga, not elite level, moving up in weight, coming off a loss. Guillermo Rigondeaux, elite level. So he has 1 elite level win, 2 wins over quality level fighters. You could call Jason Sosa a gatekeeper level guy. You could call Miguel Mariaga a fringe contender level guy. I thought he was a top 10 rated fighter in his division, 126, before moving up to fight Loma. But the dominance with which Lomachenko won those fights, the relative ease, he didn't lose a round, and the activity, 3 fights, 3 wins, making 3 guys quit. He's got to be up there right at the top, number 1, number 2. The other guy is Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford had 2 fights this year, 2 KOs over Felix Diaz, good quality, experienced, professional fighter, and Julius Ndongo, who isn't an elite level guy. I wouldn't even put Ndongo, looking back at the same, I don't even know if I rate him above Jason Sosa. Probably right around that level, might even be below him. Just had a good run. And just style-wise is just perfect for Crawford. But Crawford, 2 dominant KO wins and completely cleans out the 140-pound division. That fight against Ndongo was on a big stage, in front of a big crowd, all the titles on the line. The American boxing media was paying attention. Even the casual fans were paying attention because they were marketing this as the total unification of a division, something that doesn't happen very often. And he went in there and got it done. So to me, it's between Crawford, Lomachenko, and Rungvisai. And it's just how you rate their wins. Crawford fought the lowest level opposition, and he only fought twice. Rungvisai only fought twice, but it was against Roman Gonzalez. But the Roman Gonzalez we saw in the rematch looked old and finished. So how well do you rate that win? Vasya Lomachenko, 3 wins, 1 over a great fighter, and Rigondeaux, 2 over, B-level opposition. So I don't know, guys. For me, it's flip a coin. Honestly, I'm going to sell out on this category because I can't pick one of these guys over the other. Again, it comes down to criteria. Which do you rate more? Cleaning out a division, unifying titles, beating an elite level opponent at their best, beating an elite level opponent whether it's at their best or not, dominance, style points, how do you rate it? I don't know. Flip a coin between these 3. I'm saying 2017 Fighter of the Year, vacant. Vacant title this year for Fighter of the Year on the Montero Unboxing Year-End Awards. Yeah, I know. I'm selling out. I can hear you booing at me. I know you're going to yell at me in the comments section below. Go ahead and do it anyway, guys. I love you. Thank you for all the support this year and going into 2018. Big things to come on the channel, guys. The schedule is going to start going here in a few weeks, and the Nutri Corner will be back soon. In the meantime, have a happy holidays, happy, safe New Year. I'll see you at the fights in 2018.